Well, good day, beautiful people. Good day, beautiful people. Join me in the Bahamas as we have this next conversation. If you're new to our content, I like to do what I call master classes. A master class is where we break down elements of Sosana um, so that we really, really get it. You know, when you come onto a live Zoom or maybe you're watching a recorded Zoom, usually there's a lot of content. Compacted in whether it's 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour. The purpose of these master classes is to take these ideas and to really expound upon them so that we understand it as we undertake it. Now, in this module, this is going to be the first of probably four different modules. Go on and enjoy that luscious, beautiful landscape as we have this beginning of this conversation. We're going to talk about Sosana taxes. We love our Sosana taxes. And again, we're going to break this down over. This will probably be the first of four scheduled modules that I plan to cut here. Okay. So, one of the things that is an issue in the overall cryptocurrency landscape and in the meme coin space, more particularly, all right, is the fact that most of these projects have limited to no utility, and most of them are very risky. Okay. And this is where these Sosana taxes come into play. All right. So let's go into this first module talking about Sosana taxes and why it is a lifeblood of the Sosana ecosystem. Hopefully, you've enjoyed your quick mental vacation break. We've been in the Bahamas. Let's go to work. So again, family, the challenge in the cryptocurrency space, in the meme coin space, the challenge is that many of these projects have little to no utility. But what do we mean by that? What solution is this project bringing to the overall marketplace? And particularly when you look at meme coins, most meme coins aren't bringing any solution to the marketplace. Well, because of the Sosana taxes, we're able to bring a solution or solutions to the marketplace. And that's what we're going to cover over these next four modules. And then you have this other issue of risks. Investing in meme coins can be risky due to their volatility, lack of fundamental value. In other words, lack of real world usage. What value, what solution are these projects bringing to the marketplace? Obviously, Sosana is bringing huge solutions to the marketplace, and the susceptibility of pump and dump. Now, that's what we're going to talk about in this particular module, is that with so many projects out there, they are susceptible to pump and dump schemes or other forms of market manipulations. It doesn't mean those projects are scam projects, but it does mean that the way many of these projects are set up, they are in position to be hurt by what we're going to talk about. Okay, so let's go on and get into it. Give me a moment. So the lifeblood of the Sosana ecosystem are the taxes. You're going to hear me say this again and again and again. I want to hear you say it. Come into the video. I love my Sosana taxes. So with each transaction of Sosana, I'm buying Sosana. I'm selling Sosana. I'm transferring Sosana from here to here. There is a 3% tax. These four modules will talk about why that's so important, starting with this one. So here's one of the major problems with projects that are built on the Solana network. And a lot, I'm told by Mark Ross, thousands of projects a day launch on the Solana network. One of the reasons is because Solana has some of the lowest fees. I remember years ago, there was a very hot project that was in the make money online niche, and it was built upon the Ethereum network. And when that project first launched, I mean, it was going like gangbusters. But then what happened is the fees, the gas fees, when you hear something called a gas fee, that's nothing more than a transactional fee. Okay. The transactional fees, the gas fees got so high. So people were coming into that project with maybe as little as $100 worth of Ethereum. But in order to participate with that particular project, you had to send your Ethereum to the platform. Well, the fees was so absorbent. Was somebody's trying to send $100 and they're paying $30 for it, as an example. Okay, and so what happened was the high gas fees basically took that project out of business. So then that project went to the Tron network. Okay, because Tron had lower fees. Well, I can tell you just the other day, I'm sending a little bit of Tron, not much, maybe $20 worth, and the fees were like $7 and some change. But doggone it, as a percentage basis of what I was sending, that was a high fee base. Solana, the fees are really minuscule. So here's what's been happening. A project launches on the Solana network. Solana's made it very simple to launch a project on their network, okay? Because Solana has very little in the way of fees, and because the project that just launched on Solana very often has a very little fees. As a matter of fact, some of these projects will hail themselves as, hey, we've got no fees. You're just paying the Solana fees. Look, come over here. No fees, no fees, no fees. All right. Just a little bitty, itty bitty, little itty bitty Solana, excuse me, Solana fees. All right. Sounds good, right? What's the problem? Because there are a lot of people out there with nothing better to do than to cause harm to other people. So instead of some of these brilliant minds coming up with a way to help humanity, they take the shortcut. So what a lot of times what happens is there will be robots, trading robots, all right, that will be developed to go after a particular project. So here's how this works. So these DeFi, decentralized finance projects, have something called liquidity pools. Liquidity pools. Now, the liquidity pool is what helps that community when they want to buy that token, when they want to sell that token, they're able to do it easily because there is liquidity in the traditional financial markets. Let's say the stock market. You have something called a market maker. So somebody wants to buy ABC stock. Somebody wants to sell ABC stock. The market maker is the entity in the middle that brings that buyer and seller electronically so that the person wanting to buy can buy and the person wanting to sell can sell. Well, obviously, in the DeFi space, in the cryptocurrency space, we don't have that market maker as such. So what crypto projects have is they have a liquidity pool. And that way, if John wants to buy ABC crypto, Sally wants to sell ABC crypto, John's able to buy, Sally's able to sell. John's able to buy, Sally's able to sell. Okay. But that liquidity pool becomes paramount to the project. So let me tell you what happens when you don't have Sosana taxes. You're built on the Solana network, very little fees. The project itself, let's say, has no fees. And so then someone develops or someone's developed trading bots. What do? They go in, and these were numbers that Mark Ross threw out, all right? And so I'm going to use the same numbers I've heard him use when he's shared this with me because I didn't get this initially. I didn't understand this initially. But as he shared it with me, about the second or third time, the light bulb went off, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. That's why I'm doing this module. All right. You may have to watch it 2 or 3 times, and then it's going to be, oh, I got it. Okay, here we go. So let's say a trading bot, ABC a project, all right, with ABC token, ABC project with the ABC token has an ABC liquidity pool. Trading bot goes in, buys $10,000 worth of ABC token. Now let's assume that ABC token isn't wildly known yet. All right, it doesn't have a huge market cap of tens of millions or into the billions. All right, it might be a worthwhile project, but it hasn't gotten traction yet. Mark said thousands of projects come onto the Solana ecosystem every single day. Now that's just talking about Solana. That's not all the other blockchains and networks out there. We're just talking about Solana right now. Okay, so trading bot buys $10,000 worth, and if it's a small cap a project, that $10,000 worth can shoot the price up. Okay, now so that buy impacts the liquidity pool. Then immediately, maybe within a couple seconds or so, because the price has just shot up, the trading bot then sells what it just bought. Maybe it extracts, let's say $50, buys it for 10,000, price goes up, sells it for 10,000, $50. Okay, what just happened? The trading robot just extracted $50 worth of liquidity in that example. But it doesn't stop there because it does it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And it could be multiple bots doing that again and again and again, extracting 25 here and 50 there and 75 here and $17.43 there. And then what begins to happen is it begins to erode the liquidity pool. Very dear buddy of mine launched a project on the Solana network. Solana network, very low fees. His project, very low fees. He may not have any fees. Okay. He did a fair launch. What's a fair launch? A fair launch is where the developer doesn't even own any of the tokens yet. And so when the green light goes on, when he told his community, okay, now we can all go and buy. A fair launch means everybody has a fair shot. Guess what happened? Robots attacked his liquidity pools. And they bought and sold and bought and sold and bought and sold and bought and sold, bought and sold. He said the robots beat him. He's the project developer. The robots beat him to buying his own token. And they severely hampered his liquidity pool. Now, again, I didn't know anything about any of this stuff before connecting with the co-founder, Mark Ross. All right. Now I'm just becoming a student, and I don't claim to be an expert in any of this stuff. I'm just sharing with you what I understand. All right. Now, if my understanding is off, all right, if Mark corrects me, I'll come back and I'll make a correction. Okay. So why do we love Sosana taxes? One of the most important things that Sosana has to safeguard is the pool, the liquidity pool. It has to safeguard at all costs the liquidity pool, because without safeguards there, we can have Sosana token that we get for half a penny. It goes up. Now, if you want to, let's say it's going for $1 and you want to peel off some profits, which, hey, do it. All right. If that's what you want to do, fantastic. The problem is you don't want it to get to $1, and then because there is no liquidity, because robots have attacked the liquidity, you can't sell at your dollar or whatever it is you want to sell it for. Okay. So, what do 3% taxes do? It helps to protect the liquidity pool. We have to protect the liquidity pool at all costs. Now, how does it do that? Because now a robot would pay a 3% tax buying, a 3% tax transferring, a 3% tax selling. So in that example where I said the robot bought $10,000 worth and then it sold for $10,000 and $50. Well, see, that wouldn't work here. All right, because 3% tax on a $10,000 purchase is going to be $30. Then a 3% tax when you sell it is going to be another $30. So in my example, the robot was looking to extract 50 as profit. 10,000, sold at 10,050, bought it again, sold it again, bought it again, sold it again, bought it again, sold it again. Well, guess what would happen? If you did that with Sosana, you'd be operating at a loss. And since there are thousands of new projects coming every single day, why the heck would you want to mess with Sosana when you know you got to be at over 6% to make a profit? Why? Because it costs you 3% coming in. It's 3% going out. That's 6%. Why would you want to do that? So you know what? How about we eradicate the bots? Would that go a long way in mitigating the risks? And eliminate risk, but can we mitigate risk? So as a Sosana token holder, which I'm doing this before Sosana 2.0 has launched, so obviously I don't have my Sosana tokens yet, but by the time you see this, it may have already launched, and I will be a Sosana token holder. I want Sosana to protect the liquidity pool. That pool is the lifeblood of Sosana. And so the taxes, I love Sosana taxes, help to mitigate robots even taking a look at us. Am I saying that there won't ever be somebody who'll try to circumvent the system with robots? That very well could happen. But when they're paying 3%, because it's a smart contract, okay? They can't change this contract. All right, 3% in, 3% out, 3% in, 3% out. They do that a few times and they realize, oh, I'm losing money. Let me go to one of these other projects because there's thousands that's coming on to Solana every day. Let me find a project that doesn't have taxes. Okay. So I love Sosana taxes. All right. In our next module, because I want you to really understand why these taxes are so important. Okay. In our next module, we're going to begin to talk about how the Sosana taxes fuel, from an economic standpoint, fuel our ecosystem, whether it is with our voting process, whether it is with the liquidity pools themselves, whether it is with marketing. All right. That 3% tax are going to go into one of those three areas. Again, the voter wallet, the voter pool, all right, which is really where our major utility comes in. All right. Then we'll do another module on the liquidity pools themselves, how these taxes will feed the liquidity pools. It will provide a residual feeding of the liquidity pools. And I really should say with Sosana, the liquidity ocean, the expanding ocean. And so that these taxes are like rivers feeding into the Sosana ocean. And then we'll also talk about the marketing. So for those of you that, you're not much of a marketer, when you log on to Facebook or Instagram, everybody logs off because they see you coming because you're part of the NFL club, no friends left. All right. You're going to see how the Sosana taxes a percentage of those taxes goes towards marketing. Now, why is that important? Because if you are a Sosana token holder, every person that's introduced to Sosana by whatever means, someone like myself introducing, another leader introducing, Joe and Susie Average introducing, the marketing budget coming from taxes, getting the word out and advertising so that it brings more people to the community that then see value in Sosana. They purchase Sosana tokens. And with that buy pressure, what could, all of my disclaimers, happen? The value of the token could go up and up and up. So until our next module, I love Sosana taxes. Not sure where you're seeing this. If you're seeing this on YouTube, hey, how about you give it a thumbs up and leave some sterling comments? Um, Definitely get back to the person that shared this content with you and find out more about Sosana through them. Get their link because there is an optional, very lucrative affiliate side to things there. And if you happen to be seeing this on a page where the call to action is to get our free portal for our community. All right. We have a free portal. Inside that free portal, we have a lot of training and education about Sosana. It is an absolutely free portal. Whoever got this to you, there might be a call to action for you to get our free portal. Come inside. You'll get more Sosana content and master classes, as well as some master classes on some other projects that we have working synergistically with Sosana. With that being said, we love each and every one of you. Let's transform this world together, starting with yours.